All right. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to episode 26 of Toast the Toss. What are we talking about today? Yesterday, and today, actually, were the days of the IPL Mega auction. This is one of those auctions where all the teams are getting restructured. They could have only retained three players. Each of the teams made the retention, and now they have to build a squad. There was heavy action, bidding wars, a lot of discussions back and forth yesterday and a lot of discussions today. So, this episode, we're going to talk about each of the teams, look at what is the squad that they have assembled. We are aware that the bidding is still going on, but I think most teams have their squad assembled, and we should be in a good shape to talk about it. Welcoming our panelists this week, Abhinav, Bidhu, and Rishabh. All right, gentlemen, let's get started. What is the first team we are going to talk about? Is it Delhi Capitals? Delhi Capitals is the first thing we're going to talk about. Yes. This is
Yes,
Delhi Capitals. Okay.
yes,
So just to jog everybody's memory, right? Delhi Capitals have retained Rishabh Pant, Akshar Patel, Prithvi Shaw, and Rick Nakia. So who have they picked up from the batsmen? Your thoughts, gentlemen?
David Warner catches everyone's attention, first of all.
That too for a price like 6.25 CR.
Yeah.
Good
Good
like
buy.
a bargaining that you have
Open
done.
with Prithvi Shaw, right? I mean, that's a given.
Yep. So that's like an explosive left-right opening combination, and both of them are explosive. So that gives them the start, and it's a like-to-like replacement to a certain extent with Dhawan going out and David Warner coming in. Probably even better, as some might say. Along with that, I think one more too good a buy that they have done this year is getting Shardul Thakur. Needless to say why, because that also has given them the sync up, the strength with regards to a batter as well as a bowler and all rounder, it might say. So I think these two, in my opinion, have been the best picks that they have done. They have done a lot of good picks. I mean, Delhi this time has really transformed, has gotten better. But these two picks would stand out for me if you ask.
So would you all also I see Mitchell Marsh. So Mitchell Marsh is another good pick, right? Two all-rounders in Shardul Thakur, Mitchell Marsh, who can have an impact. I'm just thinking, are they thin on their bowling? I mean, they still have Andy Natia who's going to lead the pack. Who else do they have from a bowling perspective? They have
Not to forget, they have Akshar Patel. That also provides you the option of an all-rounder. But more importantly, I think one good thing that I see is they've again gone for two left-arm pacers with Mustafizur Rahman and Chetan Sakaria. I think that also not left arm. Both of them are not left arm as far as I recall, but they provide you the options of a good pace attack with Kuldeep Yadav and Akshar Patel, leading the spin department. So I think they've done quite well with regards to the bowling unit as well that they have.
got it. Yeah. I mean yeah, it is. Yeah, actually, you're right. Because they have a finisher in Rishabh Pant. They have two all-rounders, actually three, if you consider Akshar Patel, Shardul Thakur, Mitchell Marsh. I also see KS Bharat. So they have a good wicket keeper and somebody who can come in one down, like how RCB was using it. Bowling department seems sorted. Then they have some young stars in Yashtul. Okay,
But
they have what?
I mean, they still look 10% less in strength as compared to the Delhi of last 2 years, right? Because look, if you are comparing the bowling, what did they have? They had the likes of Rabada, Nokia, they had Ashwin Patel, and they had Avesh Khan, five frontline bowlers, and there was no
Yeah.
breather for the opposition team. Now you have replaced them. Okay, Nokia is there, Chetan Sakaria, Shardul Thakur, Kuldeep Yadav. So definitely a notch thinner in bowling department. As you said, openers is done. Mitchell Marsh would ideally like to bat at number 3 because that's where he had performed really well for Australia in the T20 World Cup. But a lot will depend upon how much fitness he has. If he is fit, I think he would be perfect number 3, and then Pant would come and Akshay Patel at 5. But they again miss someone like a Shimran Hetmeyer, who used to come for them late in the order and hit. And
But
I
that's
think,
what Mitch Marsh can do, right? Mitch Marsh being the all-rounder. as long as Mitch Marsh stays fit. I mean, we know fitness concerns, but if he stays fit, that's what he can do. What Shimron
So they
Hetmedi?
have actually lost Shreyas Iyer from that top 3-4 position, and
That's
there's no replacement for
I
that.
think you're forgetting Rishabh Pant. I think their batting is sorted. Maybe one pinch hitter more could have been in the mix.
There is Rovman Powell there.
There is Rovman Powell. I don't know if he'll get in, but I would always put Rovman Powell in the team above Mitch Marsh, given his recent form and heroics. I'm not a big believer in. I feel Mitch Marsh did well in that one tournament, but his history in the IPL is generally pretty non-existent, right? But that said, the thing that I liked about Delhi in the auction is they were looking for bargain buys. They were actively seeking and looking where a player was available at a good cost. They went and picked him up, right? And you see like Tim Seifert at half a crore, Nathan Ellis
I
at
was about to
75.
say that. That was a steal, right? Tim Seifert at half a crore. Yeah, Nathan Ellis also at about 75 lakhs.
I think David Warner was around in Delhi when JMR was there in Delhi. JMR is still there. I think that would also help David Warner with the familiarity factor, the same management and all that. So I think.
But still, getting David Warner for 6.25 CR, I mean, that's
a steal.
The highest of the auction.
Yeah. Okay. And they have 30 lakhs left in the purse, and they might pick up somebody in the later stages. But broadly, we are saying that Delhi looks like a sorted team. They have more all-rounders. They seem to have covered all their bases, at least on paper, right? I mean, it's a different story how it is on the field. But on paper, they seem to have covered their bases.
Yeah, I just want to add to one of the things that Bidhu said that, they look about 10% thinner than last year. Remember, there's two new teams, right? So I have this sensation that every team is going to look 10% lesser than last year because the other two teams have to accommodate superstars as well, right? So this does give an opportunity for new superstars to emerge. And I think it's good because we're going to see more competition, more new players, and hopefully lots of nice stuff.
Yeah, fair point. All right, cool. Let's move on to the next team then. So the next team is Chennai Super Kings, right? Again, my first reaction, they seem to have tried to get back some of the players they let go of. Maybe it speaks to the ethos they have, which is, that they invest heavily on players and they try and back them as more like a family, so they don't chop and change much. But is that the feeling you guys get? I mean, let's look at the retention, right? Ravindra Jadeja, Dhoni, Suraj, and Moeen Ali. Now, if you look at the batsman wicket keepers, a lot of them who were there before are back, like the Robin Uthappa, Ambati Rayudu,
Jagadish.
Yeah,
Jagadish, you've got Bravo back. I know the common theme in a lot of memes and social media are indicating they're saving on uniform costs. But I've got to say, before I actually get into the team, I really enjoyed the intensity and the focus with which the Chennai team was bidding.
Yeah.
You see a lot of teams just sitting there, scratching their chin, discussing and doing all of that. But Chennai was ruthless to the point, right? Before another team has a paddle up to counter their bid, they've got their paddle up for the next. So they were very, very clear in their plans that these are the people we want to go after, and we will go after them. And they did that as much as they could. I think the only place where they probably would have taken a gamble is between Shardul Thakur and Deepak Chahar. My gut feel is that if Shardul had come in the auction before Chahar, they would have gone hell for leather for him. They probably knew they couldn't accommodate both with budgets and all of that. So that's the only place that I think they would have compromised. But otherwise, I like the intensity with which they were bidding.
I personally rate Deepak Chahar slightly higher than Shardul Thakur, but that's just my own personal assessment.
And also, something that stood out is that it's being discussed again and again, but I think to a certain extent they decided to become a little more aware of where they are and where they need to head to, and which is where you would see that they did not go for someone like Suresh Raina. Even going for Robin Uthappa is solely on the basis of the heroics that he has done, in my opinion as such. But I think they stuck to the players that they have always believed in. And I think that's what has been their game plan. And as Abhinav rightly mentioned, right, like they knew the people that they wanted to target, and you could sense that from the entire setup that they had, right? Like there was no last minute huddle up or just the tension that they would get just because someone else has raised an amount on a player that they were targeting. They were immensely calm with regards to the approach they had on the overall bidding process. They knew that who they wanted. Then they knew the kind of team that they wanted to create, and you could also sense that with the investments that they have made in younger talents as well, right? It's not just that they have gone after big names or the names that they have always believed in, but they've kept quite some amount for the younger talents that are coming up. And I think that goes on to say that how Chennai has always operated, right? Like not just looking at a year, 2 year, 3 year, but a longer vision that they want to create.
Again, I see some steals that they've picked up. For instance, I personally believe Bravo at 4.4. Oof, that man is wonderful with everything he does, right? His bowling, his death bowling, his batting power, his fielding, and atrociously low price for him.
Bravo past his prime. I mean, it almost felt like he was past his prime last IPL. You never know. Bravo can always surprise us.
Yeah,
I won't say that about any Chennai guy.
Since 2008, he's been continuing the dad's army, and every time Chennai is coming back and telling, no, there's no dad army as such, and they just keep on performing.
Yeah.
The other thing is, do they have a prime spinner in the squad? Or
yeah, that was the other thing I was coming for.
On the same lines,
Jadeja and Moeen, right? They're the only spinners that
they have Santner. They have Mitchell Santner. If you look at all rounders, they have Mitchell.
But he won't get in. If you look at the 4 overseas players,
he's a backup if Moeen gets injured, right?
He's a backup.
See, that way, I mean, they have also got like their fast bowling department. They have got Adam Milne, and then they've got Dwayne Pretorius. I mean, again, 2 bowlers who can bowl some serious pace.
As far as all-rounders are concerned, CSK has always been that one team that have predominantly had a lot of all-rounders and good all-rounders in their team, right? Before this auction, you would see the way they have groomed as well as the way they have gone about Moeen Ali, Shardul Thakur, Deepak Chahar, Ravindra Jadeja. And the same is the story that they have gotten this year. The only difference that I see to a greater extent, which is going to be a tough decision making for CSK, is that all these all-rounders are now overseas. You see Moeen Ali, you see Mitchell Santner that they have gotten in. They have Dwayne Bravo, they have Chris Jordan. Now, all of these folks are overseas players, and you can get only 4 of them to play. And I think that's where their main decision-making would come into picture, wherein who would be their top 4 picks. You got to go with Moeen Ali. I believe that would by default be there. But I think the obvious the question-making would come here as to which other all-rounders they would want to play.
I mean, they are still smart. They have 3.15 crore left. I mean, you have to say that they always come up with some amazing strategies, and in spite of having a good team, they still have money to buy, somebody else if they need to. Couple of people.
No, as of now, they've gotten 25 out of 25. So the only way they could get someone else is if someone is unavailable, injured or.
They have 24. That's what Craig Butt says.
No, they have 25.
25 on 25. The auction is still going on. So let's.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
It's so they're giving 3 crores back to Srini Mama, which is a sentiment I approve of.
But I think this was wise as they had announced the retention list, right? Like getting MS for the second spot, because once he retires, they get that amount back as well, right? So instead of retaining MS as 3rd option or 4th option, they would not have gotten that much amount. So whenever MS would retire, they get that 12 crores extra along with this 3 crores. So that also adds on from a long-term vision as well from the next year's auction perspective as well. But yeah, the only problem that I see with CSK is alongside Deepak Chahar, they lack a good quality pacer who could actually kickstart things alongside him.
They actually have KM Asif. Okay, if some of you watched KM Asif in the last IPL, he was quite impressive. Well built. Can bowl about mid 130s. Sometimes we can clear it up to mid 140s as well. So KM Asif is another person to look out for. So I have a feeling they will have Deepak Char and either Adam Milne or Dwayne Pretorius kind of open the bowling and maybe Chris Jordan for depth. But
No, they can't squeeze in so much because if you're taking Jadeja and Moeen Ali, you're kind of stuck a little bit. I feel they need one more batsman in there, which they can't again get from a foreigner because there are three overseas players that are definitely going to start, right? You have Moeen Ali, you have Dwayne Bravo, and you've got, sorry, who was the other one I was thinking of? Adam Milne,
Moeen Ali
right?
is starting. Moeen Ali is
Yeah.
starting. Dwayne Bravo might not start, but he was not starting all the matches last season. You will have either of Dwayne Pretorius or Adam Milne, depending upon the pace,
Yes.
and you will have a spinner in Santner or a Chris Jordan, depending upon the pitch. But I'm
Yeah,
also
I see
about
Chris
who
Jordan
is the-
more than Santner because he's good at the death as well.
And that would be essential because the way MS or CSK has always gone about Deepak Chahar is they would bowl him out 3 overs or even 4 overs up top because that's where he's good at, right? So you would need someone to go about delivering the final overs, the crucial ones, because you would not expect Deepak Chahar to lead that up. Maybe they can try that bit out, but the way CSK has always gone about with Deepak Chahar is they would bowl him out at the beginning.
But also, do you think there is a slot which Devon Conway takes in the opening slot? Because I don't see an opener who is going to come alongside
Rituraj and
Suraj
Robin or Rituraj and Devon?
No, so here's my take on this, right? This squad is so versatile. Ambati Raidu can go and open. Moeen Ali can go and open.
Robin Uthappa.
Right? Robin Uthappa, I feel, is one fixed opener for every match that he's playing. I don't know how many he plays, but when he's in there, I'm sure he's going to be slotted as an opener. The second opener can be Ambati Raidu, it can be Moeen Ali.
No, Ruturaj Gaikwad is your first choice, right?
Well,
I would place Ruturaj Gaikwad as number 3. But then he's also someone that can potentially be one of the openers. So you've got opener candidates there simply because the team is so versatile. You've got players who do anything.
Also, which is the
Gentlemen,
home
I'm
stadium for
conscious
them? What is the home
of,
team? I don't think
because
this.
before the show becomes like how good CSK is, we have 8 more teams to review. But sorry, last point from you, Bidhu.
What is the home ground? I don't think it's
MS Chidambaram, no? It can't change. I mean, if it's happening
this
in
time
India.
it's just 3 stadiums, right? This time it's going to be a complete.
because I thought that is a strategy of why they didn't choose too much of spinners, because I don't think it's happening in Chennai.
No. I think the matches are taking place only in Mumbai, Pune, and
Yes.
Ahmedabad, I think.
Yeah.
But there's just 3 cities that they have targeted. Probably the playoffs will happen at a different venue.
Playoff is in Chennai. I think.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Okay, on that note, let's move from Chennai to their next door neighbors, which is RCB, Royal Challengers Bangalore. Again, we are reminding you of the retentions: Virat Kohli, Glenn Maxwell, Mohammad Siraj. These are the retentions. All right, gentlemen, what were their good picks? What did you guys think about the strategy and the team?
I think right off the bat, I would say Faf was a good decision they made. Particularly if you look at where it came in the auction, Faf was a penultimate pick amongst the marquee players. If they hadn't gone for Faf and they waited for Warner and you suddenly see Punjab jumping in heavy, then you end up putting a lot of money in there, right? So I'm quite happy with Faf coming in. I guess he's the captain for the team as well. It's between him and DK, but I guess it's going to be Faf.
Yeah, that was a good point, because sometimes the challenge is having a foreigner captain is if for whatever reason he doesn't perform, you can't drop him. So I think it was good for them to pick up DK because DK also has captaincy expertise.
Yeah, that said, I think the team lost a lot while bidding for Hasaranga. I'm sure they overspent for him. Again, nothing against Hasaranga. I think he's a fantastic spinner in Sri Lanka. I just followed very little cricket that he's played outside of Sri Lanka, right? So I don't know how much he's going to come off, but he's got to lead the spin attack for RCB, which is a little bit of a troublesome thing for me at the moment. I am, however, happy that RCB has taken steps to nullify the thing that they were criticized for in the IPL since the time the IPL started, which is death bowling. They have Hazelwood, they have Harshal Patel, and so I think we're looking at a team that's going to do really well at death bowling. Hazelwood in the death has been fantastic over the last couple of years, and we know Harshal Patel again can weave his magic, his dipping slow deliveries and stuff. So I'm happy with the turnaround that they've gone for. We have a little bit of Australian Hriday Parivartan kind of thing happening with RCB, with the death bowling in particular. But yeah, I think as usual, maybe one more batsman would have been nice.
Did they miss a trick in not taking Baby AB? Or if Baby AB is still a unknown, unknown commodity?
All right, so I'll probably jump in and share a completely reverse opinion on the way they've gone about.
Thank you so much, Rishabh.
They have gone about RCB. I did not, I did not like RCB going out for Faf. Reason being, they have in a way repeated the same pattern that they have always believed in their batting unit as such. You see, Faf would definitely open, and you would again question as to who would open alongside with him. If you're getting Finn Allen as another opener alongside him, then there goes your two overseas player. Maxwell would be the third one, and then again you're left out with one more. Even if you're not,
Kohli is the one who's opening. No, I mean he wants to open.
All right, so even if you consider Kohli, right, what it does is you have Faf, you have Kohli, you have Maxwell, you have Finn Allen, you have Dinesh Karthik. Mahipal Lomror, in my opinion, was an exceptional pick that they have made because of the potential that he had shown last season. But alongside this, every single batter that you see is a right-handed batter, right? And they have once again repeated the same bit where their top three, they're heavily dependent with their batting unit on their top three, top four, right? So getting some, instead of going for Faf for 7, right? They probably could have tried getting Shikhar Dhawan on board. What it does is it gives you a solid opener, a left-handed opener for that matter, and that to an Indian. So that would have given you more flexibility in terms of getting overseas players sorted with regards to the bowling options or the all-rounders. And that would have brought in some sort of more stability with regards to the left-right combinations as well to a greater extent, because you start off with someone like Dhawan and Kohli, or you get Kohli 1 down, Maxwell 2 down, because that's what the number has Maxwell preferred over the last 2 seasons with RCB, right? That he would prefer a 2 down slot as such. Then maybe getting someone like Mahipal Lomror as a pinch hitter, or Dinesh Karthik on the basis of how tricky the situation is. So that's where I feel Faf was not really a good choice. Again, from a long-term perspective, because let's be honest on that front as well as to how many seasons Faf would play after this, right? 3, 4 years, 5 years at max. But that's the same point could also be talked about Dhawan, but I think that would have brought in some more flexibility in the terms of decision making, because then again you're repeating the same thing with ABD and Maxwell, the problem that RCB had earlier.
Yeah, I think I see your point. Your point is very well made, but I thought that in that marquee round, right? Yeah. People come with their strategies on which players they're going after. Delhi, as we spoke about in the auctions, had this wonderful thing that we go for pretty much anyone, and they were bidding for like every second player up to whatever they had as a cutoff, right? I was surprised that Shikhar went at 8.25. I thought he was worth much more. Yeah. They've certainly missed a couple of tricks in the auction, like I said with Hasaranga. But I'm happy that they fixed the problem that they've been going for. My thought process again has been with RCB that there's too much banter about, well, you have Maxwell, you have AB, but you need someone to be supporting them. Well, I mean, Maxwell is a legend. The rest of the team needs to be playing freely, knowing, hey, Maxwell's in the hut coming in at number 4. You can't say he's a legend, he's one of the key players we've retained, but we need someone else to support him after that, right? And I hope new leadership, new thought process will turn that around. But then we all know I keep hoping a lot for RCB. So.
I mean, also, I'm happy with the word DK because he can be a decent finisher. I thought the steal was Jason Behrendorff at 0.75. Yeah. Jason Behrendorff, left armor, can actually, again, serious pace. Depending on how the wicket is, you can use him as a I know Mumbai, he used to be in Mumbai before, right? There are matches where they've used him as a secret surprise weapon.
But I doubt he'll get to play because the four overseas have got to be Maxwell, Faf, Hasaranga, because you need him, and Hazelwood. So you have very little wiggle room for any foreigner.
Yeah,
that's exactly the point I was saying, right? That kind of restricts them because the way they have gone out for Hasaranga, you cannot keep. You would not want to keep him out at least for the first few games, depending on how he performs. Maxwell is your obvious pick. Hazelwood would be there. Faf, you have gotten him as an opener, so you literally have no scope.
So Maxwell is a saving grace because he can also bowl 4 overs.
Yeah, that's the
So,
okay. Moving on from RCB. I mean, RCB as of this, what we're looking at, I'm sure it's changed. They have 19 players and they have 4.5 crores left. That is what when we're looking at the Cricket sheet, which I believe would have changed in the last half an hour. But we let's move on. The next team is Kolkata Knight Riders. Again, the retention, we all know Andre Russell, Varun CV, Venkatesh Iyer, and Sunil Narayan. So they had one all-rounder, 2 spinners, and 1 opener spotted. Okay, so again, good picks which KKR have done.
A mix of good and bad, I feel. I certainly think that they have 2 openers because I would like to see Narayan opening with Varun Iyer. So I felt right at the retention they had done something good. Varun Chakravarti's treatment in the recent past has not been great, so I don't know how that's going to pan out for that. Shreyas Iyer at 12.25, a tad expensive, which caused them to be a little cautious through a lot more of the auction later on. I felt they let a lot of, they spent a lot of time just twiddling their thumbs, right? Them and MI, where they're not aggressive at the bidding. So, but yeah, some steals again with Alex Hales at 1.5. Billings again at 2 is decent. They did go for some local talent as well in terms of Nitish Rana, maybe a little overpaid compared to his performances last season. But I felt they're a little light. Generally speaking, they just need more to substantiate their team. Again, pinch hitting with Dre Russ, he's one man who can take the team away, but he's also a little iffy in the recent past, right? So he blows hot, blows cold. You don't know what you're going to get.
But again, I mean, they were intelligent in also picking up Ajinkya Rahane for 1 crore because they have a backup Indian captain just in case. I mean, it almost seems like Shreyas Iyer would be their captain, but just in case he gets injured, they want a replacement. Rahane then is a available replacement. Otherwise, they always have Pat Cummins. So they have 3 potential captaincy candidates.
I think my hunch is Ajinkya Rahane is going to get a lot of games in this season. Look at the kind of batsmen they have. Sunil Narayan, Andre Russell, Venkatesh Iyer. They are all hit and miss players. I mean, obviously Venkatesh Iyer was consistent for KKR last season, but the kind of role he plays, he might get out because his option is to get a lot of runs in the first 6 overs. So you might see an Ajinkya Rahane playing the steadfast innings to hold the innings together. And he has done decently well in IPL in that role. The only problem why he was dropped from Rajasthan Royal is that they picked Steve Smith ahead of him. And then he went to Delhi Capitals where it was a lot of batters and he could not get in. So depending on his form, I think he would get a lot of game time.
I have a slightly different opinion. I feel the only way Ajinkya Rahane would get a chance to play is maybe Shreyas Iyer not being available. Because again, you have to consider the mix of their entire unit, right? You got to have Sam Billings as your wicketkeeper. Like that's the only option that they would have to, start things off. Alongside that, you would have Shreyas.
They don't have a backup wicketkeeper at all.
They have in form of Alex Hicks as well. But the point that I'm saying is both of them are overseas folks, right? So one of them would play. One of them has to play, right? It will be either Sam Billings predominantly, I feel, or Alex Hales, that would say. Alex Hales is more of an opener, as far as I remember. The odds of him getting a chance is a little lesser because they already have a lot of options with regards to opener. So Sam Billings is one of your batters. You have Venkatesh Iyer, you have Sunil Narayan, you have Shreyas Iyer, you have Andre Russ, you would have who was the one that they had retained?
Varun.
No,
Varun Chakravarti.
one
That's
more.
it. They retained Russell, Varun, Venkatesh Iyer, and Sunil Narayan.
Yeah, so the point was that they have already like 3-4 solid folks who would come at a particular position, right? And Ajinkya Rahane, you would not expect him to open. You would not expect him to come 1 down or 2 down. Probably 2 down is one place where you could consider.
Two down.
With Shreyas Iyer already getting a slot, and Sam Billings or Venki Iyer and Sunil Narayan and then Andre Russ, the odds of him getting a chance because of the lineup of the batters that they would play is a lot lesser. So that's what I feel that probably the smart move that they made in opting for Ajinkya Rahane is definitely as a replacement, a like-for-like replacement, because Shreyas Iyer also does that. He holds the innings, he takes it until the end. But I doubt if both Shreyas Iyer and Ajinkya Rahane would get a chance together as such.
The other thing, as I'm looking at the squad, right? Sorry. I don't know who their
Nitish
fast
Rana,
bowling
I'm
options
sorry,
are.
I'm really sorry. Nitish Rana is the name I was forgetting.
Nitish Rana.
Yeah, so
There's
Nitish
not
Rana.
one fast bowler.
So I mentioned, right, I was forgetting something. Nitish Rana is the one, right? So with Nitish Rana as well in the squad, and that too as an all-rounder, he would probably get more chances compared to Ajinkya Rahane. And that's why I said
he come in number 3 as well.
So that's why Ajinkya Rahane, you cannot expect Ajinkya Rahane to come down as a pinch hitter, right? So Nitish Rana, Shreyas Iyer would form your middle order. That's how I probably see it.
But who are the fast bowlers, right? I mean, they have Shivam Mavi, who's definitely going to start every game.
Cummins.
And Pat Cummins, right? 2 fast bowlers. Their spinning is sorted. They have a backup in Tim Saudi. But other than that,
I think
Andre Russ
is quite fast. He bowls a couple of overs every match he plays.
yeah, but with his dodgy knee, if depending on how his knee has healed or not healed, if they don't want to risk him and they just want to say, you just go ahead and do the hitting for us, or you just bowl 2 overs.
So
I'm just looking at what their options are.
That's how it's going to be for KKR. They have got 3 bowlers that they would definitely go for, which is Varun Chakravarti, provided that he's available, he's fit, Shivam Mavi, and Pat Cummins. These form your core bowlers. Alongside that, because of the all-rounders that they have, right, with Andre Russ, with Venki Iyer, with Sunil Narayan, Nitish Rana, they provide you more options to complete the quota. And that's how, they would probably go around it.
Yeah, I still think they should be, and they probably will be bidding for one more bowler at least who can come and add to their cause. Because I get that they, depending on 3-4 bowlers to take over the role of 2, but just as a backup, because if Dre Russ goes out, they're in trouble.
Which is where I was actually surprised that they did not opt for someone like Umesh Yadav as a backup, right? Because no other team was going out for him. You would get a decent deal with Umesh Yadav as
even Ishant Sharma, right? I think
even an
Ishant.
Yeah, as a Indian pacer.
No, but so they don't need to restrict themselves to Indians, because if Dre Russ isn't bowling, if he's injured not to be in your squad, you can always bring in one more foreigner, right? So there are actually a lot of options that went unbid or unsold.
With
they also have to decide the captain, right? I think Shreyas Iyer has not been officially made the captain yet. Still looking at Pat Cummins to fill that role, maybe.
No, with the way they have gone out for Shreyas Iyer, it's pretty obvious that he would.
Yeah.
And what it also does is it gives them that flexibility, right? That if Pat Cummins is not performing, which has to a certain extent over the last few years have been the history with KKR, that the captain isn't the one who's performing. But taking nothing aside, if Pat Cummins himself is not performing, right, they can get someone like Tim Saudi, I feel, who has come on board with them, right? So not Tim Saudi, Tim Saudi, they can get him as a replacement for Pat Cummins if they would want to replace him with someone.
All right. I mean, they have 21 people, 3.84 crores left. I'm sure they would have made some picks, but decent. I think we just spoke about some of the issues which they might have. Okay, moving on to Mumbai Indians. We know what the retentions were. Rohit Sharma, Jasprit Bumrah, Surya Kumar Yadav, and Kyril Pollard, right? I mean, that is their core. Now, interesting picks.
Yeah, so the way I saw Mumbai build their squad, my thought process was that they went all out to retain their core, right? And if you look at how much they've spent on retaining their core, and to me, their core is the people they've retained, as well as Ishan Kishan. I think they've overspent. They've spent roughly 60 crores out of their 90 crore budget for 6 players. So you're now depending on the likes of, you take spin, for instance, right? You're depending on Murugan Ashwin and or Mayank Markande to come and pull it off, right? May not work, but they've not had great seasons in the recent past. Likewise, when you come to bowling, of course, they've got probably the best bowler of all times in Bumrah, but he's being supported by Jaydev and Basil Thampi, who've had either extraordinary seasons or have gone for an extraordinary bundle of runs.
It's still
Right?
extraordinary. I mean,
Yeah, it is. It is, right? So it's like that. I think Timal Mills is a good addition to them from a death bowling perspective. But the point I was trying to make is, if you add that 60 crores spent on the core and add the other 8 crores that you spent on Jofra Archer, without knowing whether he's going to play this season for you or not, you feel that they have not done the bargain by that. I don't think they managed their money cleverly, despite having gotten some steals here and there, like Timal Mills or Mayank Markande coming cheap. Basil Thampi at roughly base price, right? So, I think they've not put their money very wisely. I do see Tim David and Daniel Sams in there, but
Tim David at 8.25.
overspent, in my opinion. But
Yeah, but I mean, somebody please help me understand. I know Tim David was with RCB last year, right? Maybe he got 1 or 2 games. So he comes with all-rounder tag.
both him and Daniel Sams. So they're just running the Udyan Express from Bangalore to.
Yeah, I mean, for me, Tim David at 8.25 was a surprise, right? I mean, if you look at that, you look at Jofra Archer at 8 and Tim David at 8.25. And Ishan Kishan at 15.25, getting paid more than almost as much as Rohit Sharma. Almost. But
there's one more thing that we need to look at whenever we speak about Mumbai, right? Is Ishan is their only wicket keeper as of yet. So they haven't really planned that well. I mean, I absolutely love the fact that they have gone out retaining their core to a greater extent, right? Because that's not your core for this season. That's still your core for 5 years from now, even to a certain extent, 6 years, 7 years from now, right? All of these 5 folks could continue to be the core of Mumbai. With getting Jofra Archer is again an investment that they have made for probably not this year, but over the years that would come by. But they need to. I just felt that because the amount of money that they've spent on their core and getting Jofra Archer, they've not really balanced their side to a greater extent, right? Because yes, you might expect that with the kind of batting unit that they have, the prowesses that they carry, someone or the other would kick in. You might expect the same from a couple of their bowlers, right? But they still needed someone else as well. And that's where I feel with the way they have gone out for 2 of the overseas all-rounders, right? Tim David and Daniel Christian, right?
Daniel Sams.
That I felt could have been done for an Indian pacer, just to give them some more flexibility. Or maybe, I mean, they opted not to go for someone like Shardul Thakur or Deepak Chahar as well. And I mean, if they could have, things would have been a little different because they would have gotten a little more flexibility. But that's what I feel that that's something that they missed out.
I mean, even the same for spinners, right? They don't have an out-and-out spinner in the team at all. I mean, again, it's just Murugan Ashwin and Mayank Markande. I don't think anyone else can turn the ball there, which is not a comfortable situation for them to be in. So,
yeah. I mean, it sure is an investment in future. They've gotten a lot of young talent. Something that Mumbai is known for, with getting Pandya brothers, Ishan Kishan, Suryakumar Yadav. But it's just too early to say that how would that progress. But yeah, I mean, a lot would depend on this core that they have trusted so much to see how they would perform.
I think the most exciting one is, which I'm looking for, is Dewald Brevis. That is the baby AB. under 19 player from South Africa, who's, if memory serves me right, is the highest run getter in the just concluded under 19 World Cup. So yeah, I mean, okay, it does seem like they still have space for 4 more players, and they have 1.5 crore left. Again, this was about half an hour or 45 minutes ago. Unless until they made some really smart buys now, we think that they are thin on the spin department. Okay, moving on to Rajasthan Royals. We know like how RCB is very close to my heart. Rajasthan Royals is probably close to Rishabh's and Bidhu's heart, but is one of yours. So let's look at the retention, right? Sanju Samson, Josh Butler, Yashasvi Jaiswal. Now, good picks. I know my heart bleeds looking at one name who should have been with RCB, but I've gone to Rajasthan Royals.
I would say Simran Hetmeyer was a good pick just for the fact that he bats at number 5, and Rajasthan deeply missed someone who could finish the innings. Will he come up or not is matter of chance. We have to see, but getting someone who is the ideal number 5, 6 for them, I think was a smart pick, and that's why they went for 8 crores for Simran Hetmeyer. Apart from that, I think Ashwin and Chehal, I think was great investments, but we have to see how Ashwin turns up now, because has been clear message sent to Ashwin that he is not in the scheme of things for white ball unless something drastic happens now. So is he going to express himself, or he is going to reinvent himself and do something to get back into Indian scheme of things? Is going to dictate his performance. But I think the last time what was ailing Rajasthan was spin. They had Shreyas Gopal, who was losing form. They had Rahul Tewatia bowling a lot of overs, who was primarily a batting all-rounder. And they had Mayank Markande, who hardly got any games. So I think from that end, they have bolstered the spin a lot with Ashwin and Chahal. And batting-wise, Devdutt Palikkar, I think, is a great investment. He will compete with Yashasvi Jaiswal to open, or maybe they both will play at 2 and 3. The only concern that I have again is the team doesn't have all-rounders. There would be 5, 6 batters who cannot bowl, and there will be bowlers who will not bat, apart from Ashwin, who can score quick runs. But apart from that, the bowlers that they have brought in, Prasidh Krishna and Navdeep Saini, and they lost Chetan Sakaria and Kartik Tyagi, I think. It's a like-for-like replacement, but the fact that Prasidh Krishna and Navdeep Saini had got their Indian cap suggests they are a little bit superior to the rest too. But I think overall, good 11 players, lack of all-rounders.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just as we are talking, right, I'm just looking at some of the messages which people are sending us. Jimmy Neesham goes to Rajasthan Royals, just on that all-rounder bit.
I wanted someone like a Chris Jordan, Jimmy Neesham kind of a player to bat at number 6. I'm so happy.
KKR needed one more Indian bowler.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. Okay, sorry, just continuing with Rajasthan Royals.
So Nathan,
what is the love they have with Riyan?
Right, so there's one more update. Nathan Putnell has also been is also gone to Rajasthan. But the one thing, and I'm saying this after ages, I feel that it's after so long that I can say that I'm really happy with the way Rajasthan has gone about in the auction. I was, to a certain extent, all of you know, right? Like I was literally hoping someone to distract Rajasthan think tank when players like Jaydev Unadkat or David Miller were coming up. They did opt to go for them, but I think they've really gone, in a smart way in the investments that they have made in the auction this year. I would really like to see Yashasvi Jaiswal and Devdutt Padikkal opening the innings with someone like, Josh Butler coming 1 down, Sanju Samson coming 2 down, because it continues the rhythm that all of these folks have as well. You might have a different taste with Josh Butler opening the innings, but I feel both of them deserve that chance. But more importantly, they've made real good buys with regards to bowlers. You see, they've gotten Chahal, as Bidhu mentioned, right? Chahal, Ashwin, Prasidh Krishna, and Navdeep Saini, all of them combined for 23 crores, right? So that's roughly an average 6 crores that you have got spent for all of these folks together. And I think that's a fantastic investment that you have made.
And you have
all of these are Indian bowlers, and who carry a lot of experience as well, right? So it gives you a lot of option to try different things out, and not to forget getting someone like Train Bolt. is to a certain extent like-to-like replacement for, not exactly a like-to-like, but an almost like-to-like replacement for losing out on Jofra Archer. So you've gotten a good pacer who can kickstart things for you, who can hold things for you at depth. And they've really made good investments in Indian bowlers to give them more, flexibility to the kind of overseas mix that they would want to move forward with.
I mean, this season
The only replacement or change I would like to see is still a new captain, but I think that's not going to happen anytime soon.
Yeah.
So that's the only change that I would still like to see. But otherwise, getting, like we mentioned, right, Jimmy Neesham and Nathan Kutelijn as we speak, I mean, these are again great additions to the squad as such.
I was just saying that, this season it seems like RCB is going to be RR is going to be my second team which I support, because it is like C team of RCB now, right? I mean, Yuzvendra Chahal, Devdutt Padikkal, Navdeep Saini. Damn.
Are they taking over Punjab's performance as well? I hope not.
All right. They have 6.60 crores left, which I'm sure they've used to make some of the buys which we just spoke about. Okay. Moving on to
another update that I think Rajasthan Royals are on a roll. They've got Daryl Mitchell as you speak. They've got Resi Wenderson.
Daryl Mitchell is a good pick.
As we speak, so I think they have again good last 4 additions with regards to overseas players. They've got.
I think they had a lot of budget left over, right? So it's just cleaning up and picking all the deals.
The game of patience plays in. So yeah.
Okay, moving on to PBKS. That is from RCB C team to RCB B team. So their retentions with Mayank Agarwal and Arshdeep Singh. Again, some really interesting buys. For which ones would be a top buys, gentlemen?
I think a lot of them. Punjab also has gone really smart in the way they have made their choices this year. They've gotten Dhawan, they've gotten Johnny Bairstow. Liam Livingstone is a great addition to Punjab. They've gotten Rahul Shah, they have got Kagiso Rabada. They've got, and not to forget Odean Smith as well, along with Shah Rukh Khan. So they've gotten really good picks. They've made really good picks with actually getting their core 11 ready even before we could probably try out the different permutations and combinations. So I think they've gone really smart with the way they have approached the auctions.
It does also seem like they've picked up some really less known faces at about 20 lakhs base price. I don't know if any of you know any of them, like Prerak Mankand, Ritik Chatterjee, Baltej Danda, and Ansh Patel. So it does seem like they have they want to invest and see where these players can go, and they could be somebody they could develop for the future.
I think
go ahead, Bidhu. Go ahead.
I think they have done really well in the batting department. You look at the batsmen: Shikhar Dhawan, Johnny Bairstow, Liam Livingstone, Mayank Agarwal. I think all are different kind of batters. Youngster mix of young experienced players, left-right combination, and especially T20 players. And when Shikhar Dhawan has to prove himself to be in the Indian squad, he has to perform really well for this team. And I think batting is well taken care of. They were missing a few all-rounders last time. And an interesting name caught my attention. It was Rishi Dhawan. He was lurking in the doors of Indian cricket team a few years back. Then he just went off the radar. Now he is back. So he can really play well with Harpreet Brar, who is also kind of a spin, but he can bat well. Apart from that, Shah Rukh Khan is always there to man the lower middle order. So I think batting department from last 2-3 years, when they were heavily dependent on Mayank Agarwal and KL Rahul, they've actually expanded the range of batters now. So the only thing
also,
is,
tell me something. Where does Bhanuka Rajapaksa fit? Is he a batter? I mean, I don't know if it's an all-rounder, batter, or a bowler.
Because I know Bairstow is playing, Livingstone is playing, and Rabada is playing.
Yeah, so there is a name called Bhanuka Rajapaksa. Sorry, go ahead while I look up this player.
So I'm not sure whether he was in the scheme of things, but I'm not very sure about him, so might not comment well. But in terms of 4 players, I see Bairstow, Livingstone, Odean Smith, and Kagiso Rabada, the starter foreign players.
Correct. Yeah, I agree with that.
I just think that maybe they overspent a little bit with Shah Rukh Khan. I do rate Livingstone as a proper cricketer that you can go and splurge on. But yeah, I think maybe he overpaid a little bit. So they've had this mix of good deals. Like for instance, again, I think Rahul Chahar at 5.25 is good. Shikhar at 8.25 is fantastic, right?
Absolutely.
And then you go spend 9 for Shah Rukh Khan.
How much
Okay.
would you get? I mean, as an opportunity to get the deliveries that you would play as such. But yeah, I mean, that's one small thing that you could probably cover. But other than that, I think Punjab has been really, really smart with regards to. I mean, one of the best teams that have gone really smart in the way of the whole options. Like one of the best on the tech.
So coming back to Bhanuka Rajapaksa, right? So he's a left-hand batter, attacking batter, and can bowl right-arm medium. So he's a top-order batter. So that's another option. But captaincy, would it be Mayank, or now that they have Shiki D, or Shiki D is a backup for Mayank? And
I think Mayank Agarwal would go because he has that rapport with the management. I would not see Shikhar Dhawan have the time to build the rapport. He's just go out there and establish himself as a batter. But I felt bad for Ravi Bishnoi because I think he was really, really playing well for this franchise and they should have tried to get him. I'm not sure where he went.
Yeah.
But I would have loved to see him alongside Rahul Chahar and see how they both bowl together in tandem.
But just on the Shikhar Dhawan captaincy thing, I don't think he's been a very expressive captain. His few outings with India as captain also, I mean, the team did fine, but I don't think he really stamped his presence as a captain, right? So although he's a really experienced player, and you've got a few of them there, probably not captain in my books. Mayank would probably be better.
Molded. So Shiki is probably going to be his backup because they don't have anybody else. Who else would it be? Johnny Bairstow?
Johnny Bairstow. This is an experienced campaigner, but
no, I still feel they should go forward with Mayank. They've put in that trust in him, retained as their number one player. I feel they might want to go forward with Mayank.
All right, moving on to Sunrisers Hyderabad then, right? So their retentions, Kane Williamson, Abdul Samad, Umran Malik. I loved Abdul Samad and Umran Malik because I think they have a massive potential. Kane Williamson, yes, we don't know how his hand is, but hopefully he should play. Again, interesting picks, overspending or some misses.
I was scared for them yesterday, but I thought what they did really well was getting Aiden Makram. Because yesterday when I saw the lineup, it was only Kane Williamson and he had Rahul Tripathi, Priyam Garg, Abhishek Sharma to support him. And
don't forget Nicholas Pooran.
Yes, who did not even score a couple of runs for Kings 11. So I was really scared about the batting. I thought Washington Sundar might be promoted to open. But now with Aiden Makram there to support Kane Williamson, I think they have some level of fortification to the batting. Because the times when SRS did well, you saw David Warner score 500, 600 runs and he was supported by either Johnny Bairstow or a Jason Roy or even Kane Williamson. So right now, Kane Williamson needs a lot of support. And they did well with Aiden Makram. We might see Washington Sundar coming in and opening, which he usually does for Tamil Nadu in the T20 leagues.
No. So I feel that the major problem that they're going to have is, again, who will be their 4 overseas players. Reason being, you got to go forward with Kane as your captain. Something that Sunrisers did this time again as well is that they have they have gone back to their strength, which is getting good options in the bowling unit. They've gotten Natarajan, they have gotten Karthik Tyagi, they've gotten Shreyas Gopal. Questionable form for Bhuvi would always be there and other folks. And which is what they have compensated with getting someone like Romario Sheffer, right? He's made a name for himself with bowling depth overs as well as he could bat. He could, be used as a pinch hitter. So I'm assuming that they would move forward with Romario Sheffer as a bowler. They would move forward with Kane Williamson, and that leaves them with 2 options, right? And they have a lot of options there, and they need to have strong openers. And which is where I feel maybe someone like Priyam Garg or Rahul Tripathi would get an extended chance because they have a lot of potential in them. Priyam Garg has proved that in the limited cricket that he has played in IPL and even in under 19, I think they might want to invest that trust in him to give him a couple of chances to open up with someone like Markram or Glenn Phillips, right? Because either Glenn Phillips or Nicholas Pooran, that would always be either Glenn Phillips or Markram would always be a thing that would keep.
Glenn Phillips has to play because he
So-
is the wicketkeeper.
Both.
It's surprising, right? Like you see Priyam Garg has come into the team for 20 lakhs,
Yeah,
and
I
you
was
see
about to
Nicholas
say
Pooran for 10.75 crores, and you think about their recent form, and Priyam Garg has been far, far better than Nicholas Pooran.
And that's the major steal that SRH did, right? Getting Priyam Garg for 20 lakhs. That's a real steal that they've made. But yeah, they have a couple of options with regards to wicket keepers. They have Nicholas Pooran, they have Glenn Phillips, and another Indian.
Aiden Markram.
No, he is
Markram
going to ball for them also, so I don't see him
Markram is
going behind the stumps.
keeper,
He's listed as okay. My bad then.
But I mean, both the keepers are overseas. I don't see an Indian keeper there, which means
They have an
Uncapped.
uncapped.
Vinod, I think, is our Indian wicketkeeper.
Yeah, they have an uncapped Indian player.
Okay.
I see Glenn Phillips being the wicketkeeper. As Rishabh said, they have to fill the slots. Kane Williamson would go in. One of Jansen or maybe one more first bowler, Sean Abbott, will be in the first playing 11.
Oh, they have Marco Jansen as well. Oh, yeah. I mean,
I've also gotten Sean Abbott, but I don't see him getting a spot anytime soon.
yeah.
It's more of a backup that they have from maybe Marco Jansen. But yeah,
Yeah,
they will definitely trust Abdul Samad, Abhishek Sharma, and Washington Sundar for the trust that they've put in. He would definitely get a rope in along with Umran Malik.
Yeah. Plus, I think Pooran will anyways be, because they've paid so much for him, 10.75. He will be the wicket keeper plus their finisher or the dasher they need.
Yeah.
They also have Karthik Tyagi, who won Rajasthan a match when they were chasing 6 runs and Aiden Makram was batting.
Yeah.
So,
I think Karthik Tyagi is definitely a good addition to them. I have a question when it comes to SRH. Who do you think was on the other side of that phone? Right? I have a feeling it was VVS Lakshman giving them instructions. But it seemed to me that most of their decisions, literally every rupee, every bid was coming through the phone, right?
Yeah.
So I was always curious: is it Lakshman who's doing this, right? Because I feel they've been very erratic in their spending. I know there's a lot of positives for their team, but I felt it was very early to invest in Samad and Malik as your retentions. And I see a lot of erratic picks even in this. But yeah, so I'm just curious as to who it was.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I mean, some more news coming in terms of who all. I think call goes to RCB for 75 lakhs. I think this is Sid Call, who used to play for SRH before, right?
Siddharth Call.
Yeah, Siddharth Call.
Yeah, the bowler.
Yeah. Okay, brilliant. Now, let's move to Lucknow Super Giants, the newest team in the mix. They got KL Rahul for 17 crores. My God. Okay, so their pre-auction picks were KL Rahul, Marcus Stoinis, and Ravi Bishnoi. And that is the reason why, getting back to your point, Bidhu, I don't think Ravi Bishnoi came into the bid at all because he was a pre-auction pick.
Correct, yeah.
Okay. So how do you think they have assembled this squad?
I think they've bid well, right? If you look at some of the options they have, opening is strong with Rahul and de Kock. You've got players that can manage the in between, because you've got like Manish Pandey, Jason Holder, Deepak Hooda, Krunal Pandya. So you've got a lot of good middle order players in there. Not to mention Marcus Stoinis, who was one of their retentions, right? So very strong there. They've even got backups in the terms of Evan Lewis, who they picked up at a pretty at base price, right? So a lot of good things there. Bowling again is where I feel they may need a little bit of support, because they're depending on Avesh Khan, who's fantastic, and Mark Wood to lead the attack, right? So again, I'm not sure about Mark Wood's availability.
Ankit Rajput.
Yeah.
Rajput is there.
He's a good
he will be a good addition to their bowler, but then you're now depending on So if Wood isn't there, isn't playing, then you're depending on Avesh Khan and Ankit Rajput to lead your bowling attack, particularly in the fast bowling department. I'm not saying it can't be done. Just saying a little light.
With Jason Holder as well.
Oh, Jason Holder's in there. Oh, yeah. Sorry,
Oh, they picked up Jason Holder. Okay. I think, yeah.
So
I actually take it back.
Plus-
Their bowling is also sorted. You have Kunal Pandya.
Plus,
and
they have
Krishna Pandya.
Dushanta Chamira.
not to forget,
from
not to
Sri
forget
Lanka.
that one thing that really stood out with the way they've gone about their auction is that they've gotten a lot of all-rounders.
Yep.
These are not just bowlers who could bat; these are also batters who could bowl.
Yep.
And I think that's what even Gautam Gambhir called out during one of an interviews with him during the auction. That they're looking at it from the different venues that they're going to play at, and these are all the players that would complement their main bowling unit. But to a certain extent, yes, I would have felt that because of the way they have gone about getting a lot of backups for their batters, probably they could have opted as they could have gone for another bowler is what I felt.
I mean, even in bowlers, their spinners are sorted because you've got Bishnoi, Pandya, and Gautam and all of that. Fast bowlers, maybe one more.
Precisely. So even if it's someone like Ishant Sharma or
Ishant Sharma,
who got picked up right at the last of the last rounds, someone of those kind would have been a lot better investment than getting someone Dushmanta Chamira from Sri Lanka. I'm not really sure. I've not really followed him as such.
Dushmanta Chamira is a good bowler. Again,
the odds of him getting a chance is always questionable, right? Because you would definitely play Mark Wood, you would definitely play Jason
Holder.
You would get
Quinton de Kock.
And
actually, it's interesting.
So even if there's a backup, you would get Evan Lewis in, right? So an Indian bowler would always pay you dividends regardless of when you want to, play them.
It's surprising that even after the, I don't think Ishant Sharma has got picked up even now. So
no, but they don't have any amount left. Their purse is actually at zero.
Just a base of 20 lakhs, according to what I'm seeing on screen anyway.
Yes. And Ishant Sharma is listed at what price? 1 crore, 2 crore? What's his base price?
I think 1.5.
But I must say that for a first-time team, I'm very, very impressed with their picks. I think probably after Delhi, or maybe along with Delhi, this has been one of the best and the most well-rounded team that I'm seeing. Of course, there will be a little 10% here and there, but then who doesn't?
But I mean,
have that,
this management ran the Pune team right before, so it's not like they're completely new. So they kind of had some experience, but not as much experience as some of the other teams. So from that perspective, I think
for instance, I think for every team we've seen at least one bad buy. I don't see any for this team.
The only challenge is they have only 21 players and they have no money left.
Yeah.
Which is fine, but they've already got backups for every role within that 21.
Fair point, yeah. Okay. All right. Last team for the day. I know we've probably gone on for an hour, but I mean, good discussion. So the last team for the day is Gujarat Titans. So Hardik Pandya, their pre-auction picks. Hardik Pandya, Rashid Khan, Shubman Gill. So it's but obvious that Hardik would be the captain. Now, how have they assembled their squad?
I think they have done a good job again in buying players as per positions. If you look at openers, Jason Roy was an absolute steal. I think he came in 2 crores. And he is a proper England's T20 starter. So he and Shubman Gill are good top order players. They have good middle order. You can question the performance, but Hardik Pandya, David Miller are proper middle order players. There's Vijay Sankar there. I'm not sure how well he performs, but he also plays in that particular role. And the lower order, they have Rahul Tewatia, who has some highs going on for him. And then spinners, they have Rashid Khan, who again, he always plays in the starting 11. So I think bases are covered. Fast bowling, again, Lockie Ferguson and Mohammad Shami are good picks. Lockie Ferguson, I think, almost played all the matches when he was fit last season. And Mohammad Shami is also going to play all the matches. So I think the first 11 are good.
No. Again, they would face the problem of overseas once again. You see, Shubman Gill is your opener. Now,
Right.
along with Shubman Gill, you could either ask Jason Roy, which would be an obvious pick. But if not for Jason Roy, and I'll say why, right? Or rather, let's do it this way. They have two wicket keepers. It's either Matthew Wade or Ridhiman Saha. If you're playing Ridhiman Saha, you got to get him to open along with Shubman Gill. So if you're getting Ridhiman Saha in, then probably you would go for someone like David Miller as your pinch hitter. But then again, they would have a lot of pinch hitters already. So if you're going forward with Jason Roy, you need to play Rashid Khan regardless of how they would go about their bowling unit. Either you would get someone like Loki Ferguson in, right? So they already are not having a lot of options with regards to whether they would be able to go forward with David Miller, with Jason Roy, with Matthew Wade to kickstart things for them. And that's where I feel that they would have that problem. Something that really caught my eye with regards to the way they gone about is betting on Abhinav Manohar with 2.5 crores or more. And I think that is a lot of trust that they have put in on this Indian uncapped player.
Hey man, sometimes the name is enough to bet. Okay, sometimes just
I could very well relate to that.
I know.
I could very well relate to that. That you need to have a lot of trust with the first name basis. But keeping that fact aside, I still feel that they would have that problem of who would be their top four, who would be their overseas four, and that would determine a lot of things for them with regards to where a particular player would be slated in. They would definitely be facing that issue because you got to have Hardik Pandya, you got to have.
They have 5 players from where they have to choose 4, right? They have Jason Roy, David Miller, Matthew Wade, Rashid Khan, and Loki Ferguson. Obviously,
and Alzari Joseph.
and you have to understand, I think there's an Australia-Pakistan match going on in IPL, so the availability of there's a South African match going on, South Africa England. So maybe David Miller might not be there.
Jason Roy might not be there.
So,
but Dominic Drake is West Indian.
Yes.
All-rounder.
I think so.
Is he an all-rounder?
Yeah, he is. He's at least listed as one. I see one more problem here, and I think despite having Rashid Khan, they might be light on spin. I don't see an option. If I remember Pradeep Sangwan being a
Sangwan is a pacer,
but he's a pacer.
And they have Jayant Yadav, right? Jayant Yadav is the other.
Jayant Yadav is not going to play. In my opinion, I don't think
would be another.
It's just Tewatia and Rashid Khan. But in that, I feel Tewatia is not a full-time spinner.
So the thing is, it would all boil down to the very fact on the basis of the drafts that they had picked. They've put in that trust in Hardik Pandya, and he need to step up as a bowler, right? And if that's not happening, then it's not going anywhere with regards to the choices that they have made. So a lot of things would depend on the kind of bowling unit that they decide. Batting unit, I mean, overall they've gone decent, if you would ask me, right? Because they've gotten a lot of players here and there, but it to me it does not look like a proper team that could just flow one after another. It's just a series of players that could go out and perform. I'm not questioning that. These are amazing players who could win you matches, but you put them together as a team, and that's the element that I feel is missing.
Do they still have money, and is Amit Mishra been taken? Because Amit Mishra till the last couple of seasons was bowling well.
So they have 15 lakhs, and you're not going to get anyone in that. The minimum price is 20 lakhs.
Because as rightly mentioned by Abhinav, Jayant Yadav may not get a look in, but he did play in the finals when Mumbai Indians was playing. So he might have something someone might have seen in him, and he might get a look in. And Rahul Tewatia might bat at number 5, and you would have Rashid.
There is another name, Gurkirat Singh Mann. Is he a pacer, medium pacer, or a batsman? Because I remember seeing Gurkirat Singh Mann maybe one season for RCB or PBKS. I can't remember if
No, he played for both the sides. He was a batter, and he had to bowl because the proper franchise did not have bowlers.
So to take Abhinav's words here, in my not so humble opinion, I feel that this looks like a a raw version of what RR or Rajasthan Royals would look like in the earlier seasons, right? You would have one solid opener, a one good bowler around which the entire team would revolve, a series of batting all-rounders who may perform, who might not perform, who could bowl, and a lot of things depending on whether players would be available or not. And that's exactly the story of Rajasthan Royals for over the last many years. And which is where I felt, right, that there are a lot of performers who could win you matches, but together, to me, it just doesn't feel like a solid team as such.
Also, one more point, all the players have been brought in from different parts of the franchisee or IPL. And so how quickly they assemble and how quickly they can build the trust among themselves.
Yeah.
Because if they start losing a couple of games, it will completely go downhill from there, because gelling and what they call momentum is a big word in IPL. And all these players, I don't see familiarity in this squad at all. So whoever is the team management, I think Ashish Nehra is a coach of Ahmedabad. So he really has to, I mean, he speaks a lot, but he has to give good.
Yeah, they've definitely got parts of the jigsaw missing. For instance, if you're depending on David Miller as your pinch hitter, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
But it seems to me like they are.
Yeah, this Abhinav Manohar Sadarangani, I was just saying, he's from Bangalore. He's right-hand batter, right-arm leg break. I mean, I'm sure there are articles on the net which will talk about how he rose to be a crorepati, which will be an interesting read. But I think we've covered all the teams. Some very healthy inputs from everybody. Any last comments before we wrap up?
I think the auction was fun. The mega auction just gave mega fun, so to speak, right? A lot of ups and downs. The wheel of luck spins differently for different people. And we clearly saw that in the auction this time. But it was good fun to have this. And I would like to see this happening a little more frequently. I know there's comments that this shouldn't be done again, but just for the amount of fun that this is given, I would definitely like to see this again.
Yeah, I think it opens the forum once again for every team to start from the scratch, and it could just turn the fortunes upside down for anyone. You would definitely hope that for RCB, but the point that is that it's applicable for every team out there to rework on the strategies that they have built in, right? And yeah, really looking forward to how things would evolve, and let's see how things would fare with the kind of decisions that they have made. And regardless of what, auction never surprises us. Think tanks never surprises us with regards to the decision that they make. So yeah, I mean, apart from anything, I would really want to watch auctions every single year just for the stupid decisions and the mistakes that they make.
Actually, now I can support Lucknow as well. One part of family stays there. So two teams, right? So
I think I'm hoping that we have a new team coming and winning the IPL in the first year.
Yeah.
And from what we see, Lucknow has the potential. But let's see. I think let's not take away the fun of the ups and downs of the IPL. And it promises to be a good season.
All right then. So that's it's probably a little over an hour, but it's been some solid discussion about each of the teams, about the strategies, about what we think, how they are staffed. The next thing what we'll wait for is how each of these teams go and perform on the park, which is where it all matters. And that will probably happen sometime end of March, early April. And we will definitely do shows then and talk more about their performances. But for today, it's been a good conversation. Thank you, gentlemen, for all your input. Signing off, end of the show. Take care. See you again.